Something that I'm occasionally asked about, but I've been holding off on answering until now, is, Frater, what happens to us after we pass away? Is there an afterlife? And if so, what's it like? I'll be answering these questions and more. Let's get into it. All right, so it's time to answer the big question. What happens to us after we die? The big reveal. And the short answer is, I don't know. Now, I have my opinions, just like everybody else, and I can talk about what I do know, which we'll get to in a moment. But as for the afterlife experience, I have none, and therefore I do not have that first-hand knowledge. And anyone who tells you otherwise is either a liar or a damn fool. You have the religions telling you what's going to happen after you pass when they're full of it. It's all nonsense, because they just don't know. I mean, the Christians will tell you, and I know I pick on them a lot, but we'll get to some of the others. They'll tell you they know what happens. You're going to stand judgment. You're either going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell. They'll lay it all out for you. They know exactly what's going to go down. Then you ask them, how do you know? And they'll tell you, because it's in the Bible. That's not knowledge. That's belief and faith. They have no first-hand experience, and therefore no real knowledge. But they'll tell you what they believe as if it were fact in an attempt to recruit you and ultimately gain control of you. That's what organized religion is, or has become. If it wasn't so controlling, it wouldn't be so polarizing. Should think about that for a moment. Now, I am aware that allegedly there have been people who have come back after having passed away, returning with tales of heaven and hell and meeting Jesus. Coincidentally, they only seem to appear on televangelist programs, which I don't know about you, but to me puts a whole question mark on the entire thing. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that they truly had that experience. They saw the light, they met God, Jesus, they saw hell, whatever. There's still a huge problem with their testimony, and that problem is called DMT, which stands for dimethyltryptamine. It's a simple compound found throughout nature in every living being, but it's also one of the most powerful hallucinogens known to man. Even though it's found throughout nature, it's highly illegal. It's classified as a Schedule I drug, I believe. If you smoke it, it's been said by those who have used it that it will literally transport you to another dimension. It wears off very quickly, though, in like 10 to 15 minutes. And when it does, you'll have a hard time remembering what it was that you experienced while you were on it. It fades away and becomes hard to remember, just like a dream, which, non-coincidentally, is one of the times in which your body releases DMT into your system. So every night when you go to sleep, you have a little mini DMT trip while you dream. And then when you wake up, your dreams are hard to remember after so long. Which is why for those of us who keep a dream journal, it's very important to write it down as soon as you wake up, because you will not remember it later. Well, there's another time that DMT is released into your system at a much greater quantity, and that is when you die. And so we come to the things that I do know. Number one, everyone is going to have a massive DMT trip when they pass away, for however fleeting that may be. So what's being on DMT like? Well, I'll let Joe Rogan tell you, since he's done quite a bit of it and is more qualified to explain it.
This is the story of DMT, or dimethyltryptamine. a simple compound found throughout nature which has profound effects on human consciousness.
DMT is literally like having a meeting with God. It's like having a meeting with divine, unbelievably wise, incredibly loving energy, like whatever it is, the source of everything. And it leaves you so humbled that after it's over, you have it's like literally like you're still you still look like you still wear the same clothes you are, but you're not really you anymore. I mean, you literally have been changed. You know, you have experienced something that very few humans experience. And the thought to me that people can go through their entire lives and not know about this is an incredible waste of time. It's like your life could be so much more positive and so much more interesting and fascinating, and you would be so much more humble and aware of what you really are and where you really stand if you just have this experience.
So it's like having a meeting with God, he says. Okay, well, if that's the case, then it's easy to see how somebody that passes away could assume that the DMT they're experiencing is a religious experience. So let's break this down logically. A DMT trip only lasts about 10 to 15 minutes when smoked. I assume that's a large dose, comparable to the amount that's released when you die. I'm not sure. It could be more, it could be less, but let's say 10 to 15 minutes. Someone who passes away and comes back is gone for far less than that. 6-7 minutes tops. Any more than that, and there could be serious brain damage. So they haven't been gone long enough to get past the DMT trip. They wouldn't have had a first-hand experience beyond that. So their entire testimony of what they experienced while they were dead is simply not credible. Yes, they've had a first-hand experience, but to me, knowing what I know about DMT and that it's released when you pass away, they've really only experienced a DMT hallucination. But the televangelists will never tell you about DMT. There's a good chance they may not even know about it. A lot of people don't. It should also be noted that the Christian experience isn't the only experience. There have been people who have come back from other faiths with different tales. It's just that the televangelists aren't rolling those people out in front of their congregations, so you don't hear about them as often. Anyway, that's why the testimony of those who have died and come back simply cannot be trusted. They were tripping balls. And you will too. So number 1 on our list of what happens when you pass away is you'll be tripping balls on DMT. Now, a lot of people want to know about reincarnation. Coming back as either someone else or something else after you've passed away. And I've met more than a few people in my day who have been really big into looking to their past lives, so to speak. Now, I like the idea of reincarnation because it certainly adheres to the laws of nature that operates in cycles. So I do like the idea of reincarnation because it is secular and fits well within the cycles of nature. There's just one small problem. Any of us who may have come back doesn't know it. We can't remember it. The memory would have been wiped clean. It's a brand new life now. That conscious part of yourself that you identified with as you doesn't come back. The ego doesn't survive. You don't pass away as Dave, and then the light at the end of the tunnel you see is the opening of the birth canal, and you pop out again as Dave, saying, "I'm back, bitches." It just doesn't happen. And the ones who are walking around claiming that they're somebody from a past life all claim to be somebody historically famous. You ever notice that? Because they're not going to say they're Joe Schmo from small town Indiana. No, they're going to be Abraham Lincoln or Joan of Arc. Whatever. Yeah, tell me another one. Now, again, I know there are some people who have claimed to have memories of a past life that have checked out when looked into that, yes, there was a person and these things did happen to them. Okay, let's again give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that they are having flashes of memory of these past lives. So what does that change? That's all they're having are flashes of memory of somebody else, because that's not them anymore. the part of you that is you doesn't come back. So if reincarnation is real, you'll never know it. And there's no proof that those memories are coming from them anyway. They could be picking up something from the environment or an object somewhere in their vicinity. As a magician, this is kind of what we do. We imprint energy onto objects, creating talismans and amulets, suitable homes for our servitors. One of those paranormal shows that I liked the most was Haunted Collector, and I liked it because it showed a correlation between objects and paranormal/spirit activity. So someone experiencing the memories of another lifetime doesn't mean that they themselves lived that lifetime. There may be other possible explanations. So now we have two things that we know happen when we pass away. One, we're going to be tripping DMT. And two, our conscious selves do not return, even if the rest of our soul did somehow. And that is about all the time I have for today. It's not all that I have to say about this subject, however, so it looks like we're going to at least have a part 2. Remember to like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at Frater Xavier, and consider joining us on Patreon, where the next video is already up. If you're watching this on YouTube, that is. Exclusive early access to Mystery School videos to all patrons, no matter their support level. I'd like to thank everyone for listening, and I'll see you soon. Take care.